any time and can happen at any place. We are here to discuss how we can change the stress into some opportunities. So with this note, a very, very good morning to everyone, and I welcome you, all my dear friends, to this webinar on such an important topic where we will be discussing about how we can understand what stress actually is and how our mindsets plays an important role in combating stress. And these stressful conditions, how our mindsets, our efforts, they can change this stressful situations into some opportunities. So I am Dr. Anshul Saluja, Assistant Professor, K.R.Mangalam University, School of Education. So I am happy to welcome our speaker of the day, Dr. Deepinder Sekhon. She is a rehabilitation counselor, cum child psychologist and psychotherapist. She is currently a consultant with the Indian Spinal Injury Center, Vasant Kunj, in the Department of Psychology. She is the founder and director of Turning Point, which is a center for child, adolescent, and family counseling located in Gurgaon. So she is an expert in doing counseling and psychotherapy sessions for children and adolescents. She has been involved very rigorously in assessments for development disorders and scholastic delays, identification, remediation of specific learning disabilities. She has been a resource person at the National Institute of Public Cooperation and Child Development, at National Institute of Educational Planning and Administration, Haryana Institute of Public Administration, and so on. Involved in training parents, teachers, and principals, she has been formally associated with Fortis Hospital, Vasant Kunj, and Max Hospital, Saket. So if I go on telling her credentials, it will take a lot of time. So here at this point, I would also like to welcome Dr. Ashok Arora, who is advisor to K.R.Mangalam Groups of Education, and Dr. Pallavi Pandey, Dr. Nazire as panelists. So ma'am, we welcome you to this session.
Thank you, Dr. Anshul. Thank you so much. At the onset, I would like to thank the university, Dr. Ashok, and the entire team, and Dr. Anshul, specifically you, for having approached me to be a part of today's webinar. I take this as a big opportunity, and I am really honored. So thank you so much for having me a part of today's webinar. Thanks a lot.
Pleasure is always ours, ma'am. So let us just begin this session, ma'am. I would like to ask you one very important question. That every now and then we use this word stress very casually. I'm in stressful condition, I'm stressed out, I'm frustrated. So I would like you to tell our audience what exactly stress is and how does it manifest itself in an individual?
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Anshul, for this wonderful question. Are my slides audible, visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So to begin with, what is stress, or how do we define stress? So I would like to make it as simple in a layman language that it is understandable for everybody. See, we have demands in our life every day which require a lot of adjustment. So for example, if I have to spend a lot of money, or let's say my son comes with a demand that, Mom, it's my birthday and I need to invite so many of my friends. So the expenditure is probably 10,000, 11,000, and I have only 5,000 in my pocket. So here is, I need to think and adjust. Another example would be that, there is an athlete whose career is brought to an end due to an injury. All these situations require some kind of an adjustment. So some adjustments are required on a daily basis. Some adjustments, like the athlete losing his profession, is required on a long-term basis. So if we term that there are a lot of external demands which are there for us, when I am not able to fulfill that demand, let's say, and my body or my mind, it reacts in a particular way, producing physical or mental reactions or a response That is what in simple terms we can term as stress. So again, to say that it is when the external demands are higher than our inner resources, which cannot meet the challenge, and these external demands exceed our coping resources, our ability to cope, our body starts reacting in a particular way. My mind starts reacting in a particular way, and that exactly is what is termed as stress. However, it's a, like you had said, that it's commonly used. It's being commonly used by everybody, whether it is children or it is adolescents or it is adults. It's like, ma'am, mujhe stress ho raha hai. So one thing which is there is it's a normal human reaction which happens to everyone. It could happen to me, it could happen to you sitting right now, it could happen to anybody. So it's a normal human reaction because our bodies are hardwired to react in a particular way to protect us. So for here, I would like to say that, for example, I see there's a snake, and immediately my body's reaction is going to be that, oh, I need to jump or I need to move away. So that means that my body is actually hardwired for this kind of a response. So the body has a mechanism for me to tell me, okay, that's a stressful situation or that's danger, and I need to move away. So it's a normal human reaction which happens with everybody. And another important point is that the body's stress response is usually self-limiting. So it's not that it's going to go on and on. However, when we don't address it at the right moment, or when we are not able to handle a stressful situation, then it starts building into a chronic kind of a stress, where one cycle would lead to another, and my first situation is not over, and here I'm fallen into another situation. So here is when, my stress, it becomes chronic. So what we need to remember is our bodies are wired to react. It's a normal process for everybody, and when my coping mechanisms are not in sync with my external demands is when I get into stress. So I hope that that clarifies what exactly in layman term is stress. Now your question was that how does it manifest itself, or how do we know that, I am stressed? So manifestation of stress could be a beating heart rate, a heart rate which is going really, really fast, butterflies in my stomach. Oh, my palms are so sweaty, or I'm feeling so scared ki ab kya hoga? My hands are shaking, trembling. I have aches and pains, which could be a chest pain, or it could be exhaustion, trouble sleeping, headache, dizziness, even high blood pressure, or I'm like constantly clenching my jaws, that dant pisna jisko bolte hain, yeah, stomach or digestive problems. So very often we see students who are having diarrhea just before an exam, or we see students who are going for a job interview, or wo bacha late ho raha hai aur jab pucho to he says, oh, my stomach is loose and upset. That is because I am internalizing my fear or whatever is going on in my mind. So this is how stress is manifested in our body. So here is, I'm going to actually explain to you why the body reacts the way it reacts. Let's say, here is an example. You go for a morning walk. And when you go for a morning walk, there you see a ferocious dog who's kind of ready to pounce at you. Now, immediately, if my reaction is going to be, oh my God, either I will scream or I'm going to tell the owner, why can't you hold? Or my reaction is going to be, let me run. So now what has actually happened here is that this part in my brain, if you see this picture, is the hypothalamus. This is going to send a message to my adrenal glands, which are right atop my kidney. And that is going to release the hormone adrenaline or cortisol. So once that hormone is released, is where I suddenly feel palpitation, I suddenly feel anxiety. So when we say, I am actually feeling that my heart is racing, that means, yes, my heart is racing. it's not that I am just saying anything, it is that I am actually feeling it. So when a student comes and tells you that, oh ma'am, I'm feeling very scared, and you're like, kya ho raha hai? And the child is like, ma'am, mere pet mein butterflies ho rahi hain. So we need to acknowledge and feel that yes, actually butterflies ho rahi hain, and we need not brush it off and say ki, oh, that's nothing. So this is how it manifests, and this is how it shows. Now, again, coming back to my previous slide, that when the dog situation is now handled, the owner takes the dog. I may do some deep breathing. I may just feel very, very relieved, but it will take me those 5, 10, 15 minutes to come back to normal. So this is when I say that stress is self-limiting. It means that once that situation has passed, it's my life is going to come back to normal. My life is going to come back to where it was. However, the next time when I go for a walk, I may still feel, oh, what if the dog comes again? So that thing is going to linger on in my mind. And that is where the seed of, a particular fear for the dog or something is going to set in. So this is the basis of how then stress leads to a self-limiting stress, leads to a chronic stress. Okay, and when we have chronic stress, that is when we have a multiple problems, which could be anxiety, which could be depression, which could be a lot of things which will need medical attention. So I hope I have answered your question, Dr. Anshul, as to what is stress, how does it manifest, and what really does happen.
Yes, true, ma'am. I think the students, they now are able to understand what actually stress is. True, ma'am.
So here, I would like to ask you a question, Dr. Anshul. You are a professor, assistant professor in a university, and you have access to so many students. What kind of questions or stresses do students come up with, to you?
Yes, I was about to add into your answer to the previous questions. Yeah, I mean, yes, we witness that students nowadays, they are experiencing much more pressure related to performance, be it academics, be in their careers, be with the parental expectations maybe. So firstly, as soon as they enter the university or a college life, that is not only what I say. I have gone through a number of studies where it has been found that a certain amount of stress is inevitable when students make a shift, a transition from secondary school to the university. So because it might be because when they are in school, they are constantly getting support of the parents and the teacher in their regular academic work. There is not too much expectations of which are there in the university or a college life. But as soon as they enter the university life, they are suddenly given independence. So they have to manage all the work on their own. And in this particular situation, when they face a shift from dependency to being independent, they usually experience stress overload as they juggle their academic work. They develop new relationship with the friends, with peers. And as there is very pervasive myth, that university students should have a lot of fun and enjoy this university life. They are in a dilemma how to manage studies as well as how to manage that particular life that they have with their friends, because suddenly they are given independence, they can go anywhere. So besides that, I also see some of the students, they have financial constraints, and some are prey of high expectation from the guardians, and some are concerned about the great, the uncertainties which are there in the labor market, and where they will be standing after, completing this course. So another category which I feel evokes a stress in them is the social adjustment. Particularly adjusting to the university life. since I have already spoken about this transition phase, which is very, very, very important, and simultaneously it is a critical one too. So those who move to some other states or some places, the feeling of separation from the parents or the parents, it impacts them. So personally speaking, I see them shuffling between the state of anxiety, stress, irritability. They have frustration, they have inability to concentrate, they easily get bored. They sometimes they hold negative expectations from their future, and I have seen them they just stop eating right before the examination, or they observe irregular sleeping patterns. So in a nutshell, what I can say is that on a daily basis, we as faculty members here, we observe our students struggling with a lot of issues which are impacting them and their mental health severely, especially these adolescents who are particularly vulnerable to the problems which are, associated with the issues that I just mentioned. So, yeah. So, they are worried about a lot of things, and we as mentors, we as faculty members try to calm them down. So, Acha ma'am, let me just ask you, so there, we know that there may be several stresses behind these conditions. So how the students can cope with such situations? What all strategies they can use when they feel that they are experiencing an extreme pressure above themselves, they are in a frustrated or a stressful condition?
So, Dr. Anshul, I first want to comment on the different kinds of problems which you have just shared with me. And the biggest problem which you told me was the transition from your secondary school to my university. And this actually brings me to a particular case which I will address at the end of the session. Okay. So if we go back to the definition of stress, here my external environment has not, the demand is too much. In school, I was well protected. In school, I had hand holding. In school, my parents were sitting on my head and there were restrictions. So I had adjusted to that environment in a beautiful way. And now here I am put into this plethora of freedom where I have access to friends, where I'm meeting new people. But on the other hand, I also have responsibility for which I am not prepared to the extent, because a lot of hand holding has been done for me. So my external demand is a lot and my coping mechanism is not that high, and that is what brings the students to you of not eating, of stopping to eat, of being anxious. Like you said, they have a lot of anxiety in them, etc. So again, I will say that this is a very common phenomena which happens to everybody. But if it is not dealt correctly, it could lead to a child being sent to a counselor or to a psychotherapist. Correct? So to begin with, let's see how we can release the stress. So like I had shown in that slide, that when I'm in a stressful situation, my body is wired to release hormones which are going to protect me, which are going to give the signal that, oh, I need to run or I need to do something. Similarly, if I change certain the ways of my responses, or I do certain activities, the same body is going to release, which we call happy cells, or it is called endorphin. So there are certain activities which we do, like it could be walking, it could be running, it could be meditation, it could be listening to calming music, it could be just listening to a lot of soft music, or even yoga. When done on a regular basis, every day, it releases the endorphin, which is going to give me the ability to not have a racing heart, or to have a little calmness in my system. But here, now the question comes that students, they come. आपने अगर उनको बोल दिया कि बेटा deep breathing करो, relaxation techniques, go for a walk, run, listen to music. So the student will say, ma'am, I have practiced everything, but tomorrow is my submission and I'm not able to do it. I'm paralyzed, I'm shocked कि मेरे से हो ही नहीं रहा, pen भी नहीं उठ रहा. So what good are your exercises which you are telling me to do? So this is a very common phenomena which we see in students, and I have a lot of children who are coming to me with this particular thing कि आप तो मुझे कहते हो कि deep breathing कर लो, music सुन लो, वो सब मैंने कर लिया, very good, but now is my exam tomorrow and I am not going to give an exam. So this is a third year MBBS student who told me. So now here the question is that what do I do? So what I do now is I change my mindset, because that is something which is for me to do on a long-term basis, which is not going to be a temporary fix-it solution. It's going to be a solution where if I change my thinking process about stress, about how I have to manage stress or what is it that I'm doing to my body, is when I will successfully be able to handle myself. So here, Dr. Anshul, the first is that recognize, I'm going to just give a few handy tips. I'm sure there are a lot of students who are listening, and there are other listeners as well who are struggling with this day-to-day stress. So before I give these principles, I would like to add one thing, that stress always is not bad. You know, when we have stress, I could use that as an opportunity to identify what's going wrong where and try to work upon it. So
I think this everyone should hear that it is for something positive also.
Oh, yes, definitely it's positive. So I give my own example. Maybe before every presentation, I have anxiety. I will not term it as anxiety. I have stress that, oh God, how is it going to go? What's going to happen? But then that is that one thing which always tells me, read more, prepare more, and practice more. So, so then it becomes as in I am empowered then at the end of it. So it's not that stress is always bad, because stress is there in everyday situation. It's not, there is no one day in your life, when you don't feel stressed about. So the first principle which I would say is that you need to recognize your worry for what it is. So let's say there is a situation. I'll give an example. Supposing my professor during my college days has told me he's just done a chapter on child development, and he tells me, Deepinder, you need to present this in the next 10 minutes. I am like, oh my God, in the next 10 minutes? And child development is something very dear to my heart. So here, either I go into a panic attack, a full-blown panic attack, and I feel that, oh my God, this professor, what is he doing? He really wants to, he is aiming at maligning me, or he is aiming at making me show me down in front of the class. And I kind of paralyze and I say, no, I can't do that. So, or now here is where I calm myself down. I go back here. I do some deep breathing and I tell myself, okay, Deepinder, wait, think. And I feel that, yes, child development is a very, very important topic close to my heart. Because it is close to my heart and because I want to share it with everybody, here is where I will rephrase myself, or I will recognize that this is what is worrying me. And here is where I need to change my mindset and change my thinking, that if it didn't matter to me, I wouldn't worry that much. Got it? अगर मुझे लगता है कि क्या फर्क पड़ता है, तो मैं क्या फर्क पड़ता है, I would not do. But because it matters, that is why I'm worried. And because I'm worried, I need not make it dysfunctional for me. I will indicate it as a change in my thinking. So when we change our mindset about recognizing the worry for what it is, then instead of becoming a symptom of dysfunction and becoming a cause of panic, I would tend to react more rationally. to this whole situation. Correct?
In fact, I also remember that it was one day before my PhD Viva, I was too worried about it. A PhD Viva hai, and you know how difficult it is. So my guide, he just told me, Anshul, there is nothing to stress about. It's your work, and nobody knows it better than you. It's about mindset that people more experienced than you may be sitting in front of you, but it is your work, and you know it better. So I think he was just playing with the mindset, wherein he wanted to assure me that you can do that.
Yes, so it is our mentors, who actually then maybe this professor knew that I had the ability to talk about child development. It's just that my own mindset was making me feel ki nahi, this is not a good thing happening to me. So now what happens that when I recognize that, okay, it's not a matter of worry because it's an important thing for me. So now I reframe the stress. So now here I need to adjust my mindset from negative to positive. Again, I come back to the same example. I'm going to use this example to really explain what stress is about. Agar negative hota, to या तो मैं डर के भाग जाती कि मुझे नहीं sir, I can't present, or I would go and tell my friends that, oh my God, what has he done? So it's either a fight or a flight mode. Either I would say, get out of it, no, I'm not going to do it. Or the other is that I would tell, sir, why me? Why is it that you have chosen me? And here is where I have limited my ability to think. Here is where I have just shut my mind that I cannot explore any more options. Whereas if now, on the other hand, I change my mindset or I change my thinking process, this is going to help me broaden and build up. Okay, so here is where I will then be able to process more possibilities. That sir has told me to speak about it. I need not panic. I can explore more possibilities as to how I can go ahead and give a good presentation on child development. So this little shift in my mindset is going to make me feel more activated than paralyzed. Right? So if I'm active, now I look at ways and means. I would probably, go to another teacher. I would probably go to a friend, or I would ask the professor that, sir, instead of 10 minutes, can you give me half an hour? Maybe I'll read up on it. Maybe I'll prepare myself. So now you understand that I don't need to calm myself with those deep breathing that I've already done. Now I'm rationally thinking for a solution, which is going to prepare me to make that presentation. Then a very important thing, which I love to tell everybody, is focus on what you can control. There are so many things in our life which we cannot control, but there are a lot of things in our life which we can control. So this is what I call as an island experiment. Coming back to my presentation, which sir has asked, things which I can't control is how other students are going to react to my presentation, how my professor is going to react to my presentation. How is it that whether I'll be able to say something nicely or not, that is in my hand. So I create two islands. So here what we do is, normally we tell the students that make a list of all the things which are bothering you. So in my case, I would say I may falter when I'm speaking. I may not be able to speak clearly. My content may not be correct. I don't know whether my professor is going to like my presentation. Then my professor is going to tell other teachers about it. And then a cycle is going to form and the students are going to make fun of me. I cannot control all that. But what I can control is how well I read about myself and how well I read about the child development and say. So here, one island holds the things which you can control. The other island is for the things which you can't control. So what you can't control, you need to ignore that. And you need to choose the single circle where action can be taken. And that is when you try to resolve it and move further towards your goal. So just to make it easy, I have made these two islands. So here is what I can control. Students can control their words, their behavior, their actions, their attitude, body language. So important, either I'm just doing that or I can be, presentable. My thoughts, my feelings, my actions. What I cannot control is what other people would think, how other people would react, what is the mistake of other people, other people's ideas. You may not agree with what I'm saying, but I can't control that. Now I can't tell you, no, Anshul, you need to think the way I'm thinking. So, and then I feel, oh my God, she's not listening to me. So I'm adding to my own mental processes, which are further going to, instead of empowering me, they're further going to take me away. So we need to create a list of things which we can control and we can't control, and eliminate what we can't control, because that in any case is not in our hands. Finally, I create a network of support for myself. Here, the most beautiful example is a lot of children would have not seen a circus. Have you seen a circus, Anshul?
I have seen, ma'am.
You've seen trapeze artists jumping?
Yes, ma'am.
Anna, so what does a trapeze artist jump? He jumps from one bar to another.
To other. No.
But there is a safety net below that.
Yes, ma'am.
Anna, so that trapeze artist knows that if I fall, there are people holding that safety net and they're going to...
Nothing will happen
if I fall. So I have to have a good network of support. I'm sure in your PhD, when you were so worried, you would have had your guide, you would have had your friends with whom you were sharing, मैं क्या करूंगी, मेरी presentation है, मुझे डर लग रहा है, बहुत डर लग रहा है, because it happened with me as well. And here is when my friends told me, no, you can do it. And I'm sure you would also know, but that initial stress, again, I will reiterate the point that initial stress would have given you the opportunity ki, let me read once more. Let me be better prepared next time, for my Viva. Let me be more prepared. So here is your network of support, which is building relationships, building companions, or having friends who are there not to put you down, but to assist you. Right? So for example, when I have to make a presentation, I have two sets of friends. One set of friends says, देखा मैंने कहा था कि ये सर बहुत डांटेंगे और इन्होंने तेरे को ही चूज किया ये presentation करने के लिए. So where my self-esteem was already down, I'm like, oh my God, it goes further now. Now the other set of friends would say, okay, Deepinder, come on, let's go open up the book on child development. Let's go visit some websites. So I need to choose a network of friends which is there, or relationships, which is good for me. But this I'm not going to do at the panic moment. You have to build friends, you have to build relationships during the non-stressful phase of your life. When you're calm, and you can actually assess people for what they are or what they are doing to you. So creating a network of support is very, very important. And then getting stress handling experience. So here I will, again, the best way to learn to handle stress is through practice. आपका ही एग्जाम्पल अगर हम आए कि बच्चे जो हैं जब कॉलेज आते हैं, वो the body is not used to handling this stress. Right? The transition has just happened from school to college.
To university,
to university. Our body is actually not accustomed to so much of adrenaline, so much of cortisol being there, because the situations are over demanding for me. Situations are those which I cannot handle. So one assignment submission failure leads to a cycle of my thought process going that I can't do it. It is overwhelming for me कि मुझे करना ही नहीं है, और फिर मैं खाना भी छोड़ दूंगी, फिर मैं बात भी करनी छोड़ दूंगी, फिर मैं सोऊंगी भी नहीं, and I even might start missing classes, because that one thing I have not been able to address, and it has gone on to become a chronic cycle. So this is this is just an example. So how do we do some stress handling experiences? Let's say public speaking. Public speaking is something which is very, very scary for me, which I can't do. So what do? I probably join a class. I practice n number of times so that every time I practice in a contained situation where I have the experts with me, where I have my network, then when I'm actually facing that situation is where my stress is going to decrease. This is something which is we never teach our children, and this is something which I think every school, college, parents should know: gratitude journaling. We are only focusing on the negative aspect of our life. मेरा स्कूल अच्छा नहीं है, मेरी टीचर्स अच्छी नहीं है, मेरी मम्मी ने इतनी घटिया कटलेट बना के दिया, आज मेरे पास ड्रेस अच्छी नहीं है. But can we focus on what we actually have? That maybe I am in the best university, maybe I have the best teachers. So again, it's all about the mind. You know how your mind needs to be thinking in a positive direction. All of us have a lot of optimism and positivity in us, which we don't harness that. So a gratitude, when I'm not able to think offhand, ki, oh, what do I have to be thankful for? Then I tell the clients who come to me that start your gratitude journaling and at least write 3 to 5 things you're grateful for or something good which has happened to you in the day. It could be a very simple thing as a teacher giving a smile to you. It could be a very simple thing that making a nice dish. It could be, you know, my professor has told me, okay, Deepinder, finally you got the child development. It's like that. Then eating right is so important. If you're not well nourished, like you said, students stop eating. So when they stop eating, again, my craving starts, my glucose levels go down, and I have physiological symptoms which will weaken me, which are not going to allow me to be at my best performance. Exercising, again, I say that endorphin, it is released when we are exercising. So then this is where, you know, I need to practice this on a regular basis. But having said that, finally, we come to the principles which we really need to remember, that do think of stressor as just an indicator that you care about something rather than making you feel panicked about it. So I reframe my stress. Focus on the task rather than the emotion. So here the task for me is child development, but the emotion is of hysteria, of panic. So if I were to shift my focus, no, let me focus only on the topic rather than the emotion, I would be in the present moment, which also means that I have to be mindful of what I am actually practicing. I'll touch upon mindfulness a little later. Then building relationships so that you have people to turn to at the time of stress, and tap into your reserves of optimism. Like I say, all of us have a lot of optimism in us. A lot of us have empathy already in us. We're born with empathy, love, nurturance. But the circumstances make us drown all that. So I need to go back and tap into my reserves once again. Do not assume that stress is going to last forever. Get the example of the dog in your mind. The owner is going to take the dog and my heart racing is going to come down. So stress is self-limiting. It's not going to last forever. Do not worry about things which are not in your control or out of your control. And do not spend time with people who are negative. So these are some of the strategies which, you know, I give to students and we give to children. So here, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, sure, ma'am.
Yeah, so you told me that, you know, you have a lot of students who are having so many issues and problems. How is it that you people handle these at your university?
Yes, ma'am. It has been a very, regular, I can say that it's a rigorous as well as it is very unpredictable cycle where we can handle our such students because somehow at one or the other stage they think that they are unable to develop the skills which are required to balance their the responsibilities they have. So first of all, as soon as talking about this transition period, as soon as our freshmen they get into the university system, we focus on giving them adequate training, or you can call that adequate sessions we plan for them, so that they can well adapt to this. They initiate the process of adapting to this new life. So we have good induction, come training programs, orientation program for our new students, so that they can be made well aware about the university. They can get to know about their seniors, their fellows. And in order to help them academically, we have specialized collaboration and inclusions of advanced courses in the programs, so that whatever they love to learn, we can give them. So we are continuously searching and researching where their interests lie, and based on the feedback they give us, we try to inculcate those maybe courses, maybe value system in our own programs. So realizing that scholastic and co-scholastic support is all required for them to grow holistically, we have definitely advanced classrooms wherein they can get infrastructural support as well if they want to learn something. So many students, I've seen that they start higher education with a little, knowledge and a few skills on how to cope stress and live a healthy lifestyle that may support their optimal performance as well as productivity. And we do understand that academic setbacks, they definitely cause stress levels to rise. So what we have found as an effective way to handle this type of academic stress is to make them speak up. In case if you need any help, you just ask. So this help they can seek from their teachers, because tutoring, it can be an effective method wherein we can help students cope with any of the academic or maybe personal difficulty they may be facing. So keeping the faculty to teacher ratio at the minimal possible level here at the university, we tend to create a collaborative approach between them to work, wherein they both can, the mentor and the mentee. Mentor is the class, maybe a class teacher, and mentee the students. They collaboratively work upon some problem, and they tend to create an atmosphere wherein they can deal with the problems very effectively. So I would like here to mention, just an elaborating, that mentor-mentee culture is being followed at our university, wherein the mentor or the class teacher is given charge of some students as the mentee, and they both identify, they both discuss, they both solve these issues together. So the mentors, they help their mentees getting organized. This what I believe is helping in facilitating a problem solving approach among the students, and obviously an emotional support is also given. Then we have community connect initiatives. Just to tell you that what we do here, we are in partnership with 3 villages around Sona. So the faculty and the students, we regularly visit these villages, wherein we provide different services like education, agriculture, health, legal aid, maybe cleanliness drives, maybe rallies, women empowerment, well-being, and various projects related to engineering and agriculture. They are under process. So what was the basic aim behind this adoption or maybe partnership with the villages is that we want to give we want the students to connect with the outside world and to make them responsible enough that they could serve the community. And when our students go in between those people, they definitely interact, they share their thoughts, and we believe that it is stress relievers too. So they learn about different cultures, different ethnicities, and they develop a we feeling. So you recently told that building relationship and a network of support is one such strategy to cope with the stress. And what I think is, placing them at multiple position, linking them with multiple people is maybe, this may help them building confidence. So further, you have also stressed upon the activities such as relaxation, physical exercises, meditation, yoga have, they also, play an important and substantial role in stress alleviation. So yes, we also have these kind of sessions at our university wherein we engage our students in sport and yoga and meditation exercises, just to mention that today from 9:30 to 10:30 we had this yoga and meditation counseling session at our university. So I was there before joining this session. So we are conducting these classes regularly at our campus, and the students, especially the hostelers, they are the regular visitors of these sessions. The faculty and the other staff member, maybe non-teaching staff, we are seeing that the housekeeping staff is also willing to join these sessions. So so in a way we are enabling them to just go for those relaxation exercises wherein they can connect with their inner self. Further, to mention that we have different clubs and societies as per the interest of students. So we cannot say that these are the things where a student can be involved, either dancing, either singing, or 2-3 more. But based on what majority of the students want, what they're, in fact, if they have any idea of starting any new club or maybe cell at the campus, we give them an opportunity. We tell them to take an initiative, to take the voluntary, to be the volunteer of that particular clubs. So these clubs and societies, where the students, they come, they sit together, they recreate, they enjoy, they celebrate togetherness. So further, as soon as the students they reach their final year, they start experiencing another level of stress. It is due to the placements, it is due to the interviews they'll be facing while they will be applying for some job. So for that we have separate cell known by the name Corporate Development Center, which specifically looks at the need of the students who are going out for the internships or placements. Practice is what is required for them. So the training and the mock interview sessions, these are a part of our regular timetable, wherein per how we decide is as per the timetable of the students, we allot 1 or 2 classes per week, which is specifically taken by this CDC center, and they are given a training on how to write your resume, how to face interview, what kind of questions will be asked from them. So we train them, and hence when we involve the students right from their second year, this gives them a fair idea, and expertise about how to perform in interviews. So public speaking, this is a big I think fear amongst the students, wherein they think that they cannot speak publicly well. So I think that this has a fairly, this has proved to be a beneficial strategy for the students. If I mention about the entrepreneurship and incubation center, which we have, we encourage students to think and execute their startup ideas. The students themselves reach to the industries, the companies where they are asked to arrange funds that could help them build their startups. So working in teams, and seeking internal as well as outside support, internal from the university and outside from the companies, this is all what we focus upon. And the students, they get to know a lot from, when they indulge in these activities. And we also tell them that in case if you face any failure at any point, so there is nothing to feel bad about it, because getting success every time is just not possible. So sometimes we see that they are unhappy with their marks, with the clothes they are wearing, with the response they are getting. And what we focus on, we tell them to focus upon what you have, focus on the half glass filled and not half glass empty. And you also just mentioned about it. Let us just focus on what we have instead of what we do not have. तो जब हम फोकस करेंगे कि हमारे पास क्या है, then we are able to utilize it to the maximum. So, to mention here that we are still working on infusing employability in our pedagogy. So for that, we are aiming at cross-cultural programs where we are undertaking students exchange programs. We have tie-ups with some of the universities, good universities, where we are exchanging our faculties, we are exchanging our students. Our students are being sent to other places to get experiential learning. Just to mention, abhi recently, the students of architecture, School of Education, they visited Gandhinagar. Just to Gandhi Nagar, they went and they just completed a project on some architectural area they have. So these trips, taking the students on corporate or industrial trips, field projects. So these are some of the ways where I think we can infuse we can promote experiential learning. So in a way, they will help them gain confidence on themselves.
So that's a lot of work which you are doing at your university, which is highly commendable. Because I want to share 2-3 case studies with you. Like, one is a very recent one which I have just handled. Like you said that you are training for job placements. Students are worried for job placements. They are worried. You are giving them a hands-on training, correct?
Yeah.
Now what has happened is that I had a call from a mother, and this girl, she is just a fresh graduate from, again, a very well-known university, and she got a job with a startup. So the mother was very apprehensive because she said, my daughter's been having chest pain for the longest period of time. She is not eating well, and every day she comes home after her work and she starts crying that she wants to quit her job. So again, coming from a good university, this girl, her inner reserves were not that good to be able to her, to really identify. And this chronic pain, mother, she was ready to go to a psychiatrist for taking medication for her anxiety levels. So when we started talking, we actually started understanding that where was it that this stress was coming up, that it had accumulated to a level where the girl was not, the functioning of her life was missing in a normal way. So what we found out eventually was that in the conversation, she would constantly say that I went to this person again for help. I went to this person again for help. So I first understood that what was bothering her was that she was at a position just below the CEO. So whatever report she made went directly to the CEO, which further went to the entire company. So here her stressor was that what if my report is wrong? What if I have done something is wrong? So now the cycle which took place was that I think I'm a failure, because even in college, nobody spoke to me. Other girls were good in dancing, other girls were good in singing, but in Bangalore, I was very happy. So you see, the chronic cycle of inability to handle had set in. So actually what happened then was we realized that she, being a fresh graduate from a university, suddenly came up to a position of responsibility where she had no training in. So it was never her fault that, she was not able to perform. So what we suggested was that she should, like you say, talk, open up about it. So she spoke to the people. They got another lady just above her who actually mentored and saw whatever this girl was doing. And you will not believe, immediately within 2-3 days, she is like, I have never experienced happiness the way I'm feeling now. So here was although the deep breathing we had told her, although everything we had told her, but we had just not been able to come to the root cause. So once, she understood that it is not my fault because I was not actually prepared to take this job. That is why I was feeling stressed a lot of times, most of the times. And that is where, then this lady who came as a support system to her, the safety network came. After this, I took an opportunity. Then I got a window with her. Right now, she was in a heightened state of, dysfunction. So once we got her to the level of understanding that, okay, it's not your fault, and now things are moving in the right direction, that is when we started working on the shift in the mindset. So here is where the mindset shift came, where we started working that you need to address a problem as a problem, not as something which is going to paralyze you or something which is going to make you look like a failure. It is a situation. We need to understand the situation. So here is my mindset has got just changed, that from a problem, it has become solution focused. And that is when now every time what happens is that I told her, I said, look, when you're in a situation, write down. Again, write down what is bothering you, what are the stressors. Now she could figure out that I am scared that my things are not going in the normal this thing. Or what she couldn't control was कि boss क्या बोलेगा, बाकी colleagues क्या बोलेंगे. So वो outer circle हमने हटा दिया, और जब उसके inner reserves strong हो गए, that is when the girl started feeling a lot of happiness and relief within her. This is one example. The other example which I want to share with you, which you people, again, I would like to congratulate you, is on a lot of mentoring and hand-holding. So I had this client, and again, a girl from Pune. She got admission in a foreign university. And we had been working with her. She was having other issues. So the girl was absolutely settled. I thought we're over and done with. After 6 months of her admission in the foreign university, I get a call from her father that, ma'am, we need help desperately. I said, like, what really happened? She says that girl wants to come back. I said, but that was her dream. That is what she wanted to do. She wanted to do research in neuroscience. And why is she coming back now? So they were like, we don't know. And believe you me, Anshul, when I spoke with her, this girl was in tears. She showed me her room. The suitcases were packed. And I was like, hua kya? She says, ma'am, you don't know. I was like, what? She says, I reached here. There are 300 students in my class. The professors are teaching with the mics on. Nobody knows who I am. Then I have to go from one class to the other class, which is 10 minutes away. She says, the campus is so huge, I'm lost. She says, I don't know where to go. By the time I reach, half the lecture is gone. And I don't know from where to begin. I don't have any friends because I'm a new person here. Nobody's ready to really talk to me. And she says, to top it all, everybody told me that you're brilliant, and I have taken 18 credits program. She says, now the problem is that I am not able to finish each assignment. She says, whether I attend a class or I don't attend a class, I still have to give the assignment. If I don't give the assignment is when, it was an over. Now, can you imagine when I'm talking? She was so overwhelmed with so many things. So here, what I wanted to give this example was that in our universities, we are, I think, doing a lot. What you just mentioned of having children speak up, of mentoring, of hand-holding, of collaboration. So, a child would really feel lost if he or she is in a place where there's no hand-holding being done. So this is something very good, which I think a lot of universities should be doing. Another example of which I really wanted to highlight was of this 13-year-old twins. You see, at the beginning of the session, stress is a word which is very commonly used, very, very commonly used. And we use it for wrong purpose also. So these children, they had a lot of sibling rivalry. And the mother was fed up. She says, I can't handle the way they fight with each other and, scratching, hitting, beating, etc. So before each session, I do a check-in with everybody. That how are you feeling? How is your today emotometer? I call it an emotometer where my emotions are. And she's like, I'm very stressed. I said, why are you stressed? She says, I'll tell you. She twisted the camera. Her sister's bed was full of clothes, books here, there. She says, this is giving me stress. So I said, now what are we doing? No. So her first thing was profanity, and she is like, I am going to set her right. She doesn't know how to make the room clean. She doesn't know how to do this. She doesn't know how to do that. My mother is never there to do anything with me. And her pitch and her tone kept getting higher and higher and higher. And first we calmed down. I helped her calm down. And then I told her, I said, okay, let's go to school also and revisit the school and see what's happening. 3 fights she had in which she was not involved in any of them. And she had just wanted to jump into each fight to prove her point that, no, I am the one who is always right. So here now, my question of bringing this case study is that the word stress has been used because she felt that this is a very stressful situation for me, where I'm not able to handle. Now, here is where, again, after we can't tell children or adolescent immediately change your mindset. I have to bring a child to a rational level where he or she can understand that it is possible for my thinking to change. It is possible for my mindset to change. So eventually then, we got her to that level where it was that instead of abusing her sister, instead of hitting her, punching her, why not collaboratively be with her and set up the room? Why not get the mother also involved? Why not get the father also involved? So it was like, she said, and then, she sees a different lens. She's like, अच्छा ऐसे भी हो सकता है. तो वो एक फिक्स हम माइंडसेट से जब चलते हैं ना कि चीजें दूसरे नजरिए से देख ही नहीं सकते. So that is what we have to change. And that is what leads us to the point that, okay, I need to have a growth mindset. I need to see that life is different, can be seen differently. I am not to have that fixed mindset of, the horses, they have that they only see the way, they are not from anything. But I need to remove that. That is because horses have 180-degree vision. So that is why I put it there. Yeah. But as a person, I can see a different perspective of things. And here, when I shift my perspective from negativity to positivity, is where there is a shift in my mindset. Then I'm able to accept that, okay, there are things which can be done differently. And if I try doing things differently, my own coping skills are going to be better. So this brings me to the last slide, that there are some people, often parents come to me कि so and so's child, उसको तो कोई फर्क ही नहीं पड़ता, चाहे वो खा ले, चाहे वो कुछ भी कर ले, पर वो तो खाती भी है, वो तो मेरे बच्चे को पता नहीं क्या है. अब मेरे बच्चे को ये है कि मेरे इनर कोपिंग मैकेनिज्म्स तो उतने स्ट्रॉन्ग है ही नहीं कि मैं अपने एक्सटर्नल एनवायरनमेंट के साथ उसको कोप कर पाऊं. So in the words of Professor Dan Siegel, he's a professor who is for mindfulness. He works in the University of this UCLA. He says that when my inner self is in coherence with my external self, then I'm in direct sync with myself. So that is what is simply called resilience. That I'm able to handle things because I am internally calm, because I'm internally at peace. And here, how did that happen? That happened with the change in my mindset. That happened with the change in my mind shift. Like now we say that stress is not always bad. And today's webinar is about how we need to make stress into an opportunity. So the change in the mindset, the change in the mind shift is going to make my inner self stronger. It's going to make my reserves stronger so that whatever be the external situation, I can practically respond to it and not react to it, and have a focused approach. a solution focused approach rather than see stress. Like I said, Dr. Anshul, stress is present, whether we deny, whether we don't deny, and we need to adapt to it. We need to change with it. How we do it is again entirely in my hands. It was when pandemic happened, COVID happened. There were so many cases which came out of children, mental health going really, really haywire. 2 years, children got used to that kind of a change in the environment. They started learning how to adapt to the change. Now, what has happened is with the schools reopening, I get calls from the same clients कि मैम CBSE को क्या हो गया? I was like कि क्या हो गया? 2 साल कहते हमें ऑनलाइन एग्जाम देके अब वो स्कूल बुला रहे हैं पेपर देने के लिए. So they said कि हम तो कर ही नहीं सकते. And the fear factor came. I don't want to go to school. I don't want to do this. So then again, when after getting them to a calmer state, it is like this is a new normal now. The external will change. How can life be same? It's not stable. It's dynamic. How mine works, I change my mindset. Yes, I'm not saying things work like magic. It's not that today I change my mindset and tomorrow things will be really hunky-dory. No. It will still disturb me. It will still take me time to calm myself down, but I will be in a better position that I am able to rationally think about it rather than paralyze myself with a lot of fear or something. I can rationalize situations and I can go ahead with my life in a normal way. So, am I resilient? Do a self-check on your own and see whether my mind and my body are in sync with what is happening around me. So it's like, for this, I would like to end it with a very, very short example again. When I was not able to connect, the butterflies in my stomach were happening. I was feeling a little worried that, oh my God, it was like, why is this happening? And then my rational brain told me that their technical team is working on it. Okay. It may be 5 minutes delayed, but that's okay. So that's how, I calmed myself and I was able to have a presentation. So once again, thank you so much for making me a part of your university's webinar today. For me, it was a wonderful experience talking.
The pleasure is indeed our, ma'am, to have you here. And I think the students must be very happy and must be content with whatever you have told them. Yes, the situations are stressful every now and then. छोटी छोटी चीजों पे, like you mentioned कि मेरा webinar में entry नहीं हो रहा था. That was a cause of concern too. और उसी से हम लोग stressful situations में आ जाते हैं. So I think ma'am has told a lot about it. So students who are here with us, I think you really need to rethink and set your mind. Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? Isn't it?
Well, fantastic journey to the word of stress and coming out of it, right? And I'm sure the students, who go through various situations, various ways, will find it now, to some extent, more equipped to come out in a better way. So what I have learned today, I'd like to share, right? So taking from the first slide to the last slide very clearly, what I learned was that coping, when stress is there, when I feel my internal resources are not enough, I cannot, and this is where stress comes. This is where I feel incompetent. This is where I feel I cannot. Now, if I have this fixed mindset that my resources are limited, whatever I am, my resources are limited. Then very naturally, I can't, whatever this imbalance has come, I cannot change. I cannot bring it to a balance between body and mind. Right? So what I need is, I need to equip myself more, increase my inner resources. And those resources can be increased. And that is what exactly is growth mindset. So there are two kinds of mindset: fixed mindsets, that I'm born with certain abilities, मेरे तो intelligence level इतना ही है, okay, or my mechanical ability is only this much. Second thing is this: fine, it is so, but I can increase, and this increase can be in many ways. Like wonderful example was that when you collaborate with others, I may not have a particular ability, but my friend may have. Like the example was this, that you have to give a presentation on child. Okay, I cannot make within 10 minutes a good presentation, right? PPT, I'm not that good enough. But my friend is very good at computers and all that. So I continue to speak. That my other friend is, making those PPTs and all that. And within 10-15 minutes, we are ready for the show, right? So what we can do is, I may not have that ability, but my friend, people in my environment have those abilities. So what I can do is, I can collaborate. And this is another way. And connecting with others. Many times I'll be helping people because I also have certain good abilities, great abilities, which they don't have. So complementing and supplementing is one way to increase your resources. Secondly, of course, there are certain skills we can always acquire. And this is where the role of the learning centers do come in. And this is where the role comes in, that learning has to be lifelong, and I have to continuously update my skills if I have to survive. So when I'll continue to increase my inner resources by collaborating or by working on me, very naturally, the external environment, I have already taken care of it. So then it is not bothering me and all that, right? So either by working on you or by increasing the support system, we can increase those ways and means to deal with any kind of situation which may arise, with which we are familiar or not familiar. Right? And in fact, unfamiliar situation give you a chance to understand that, oh, मैं तो ये भी कर सकता हूँ. I have this ability. For example, that Madam was asked to make a presentation within 10 minutes. So अभी तक तो कभी किया नहीं था ना. And once you have done it, you understand you can do it. So that gives you an additional confidence. That's also a resource. That's also a resource. And the second thing which is very important is not to worry about failures. Failures do happen. All right. If I fall down on a ground, same ground I can use to rise. That's a wonderful principle. Action and reaction, which we learn in physics. So let us get back to it. Any situation may arise. Let it come. Right? We can handle and we will handle. That's the way we need to equip our mind, and that is what is called the growth mindset. And this is what was our topic. Let's go back to our mind. And then and only then we can make stress as opportunities. So thank you so much, ma'am, for giving us so wonderful, concrete examples from your own experience. And I'm very happy that at KRM, we are constantly learning from experts like you and constantly working on our own way. How can we really help our students better? And a fair idea of that was given by Dr. Anshul. Thank you so much for steering this journey of moving from a stress situation to no stress situation, right? Thank you very much. And now my friends will definitely, if you have any question, because we have an expert with us, right? You can write your question in the chat box, or I think there is no audio facility available. Please write your questions if you have any questions before we take you to a next journey. Any question from your end, please? So, Anshul, we see no experience and no question is coming up. So that means the explanations were so wonderful. So everything is clear.
It was wonderful.
And the second thing is, and the second thing is this, that still the digestion process is on. Right. Okay. So to add to that digestion process, let's have a trip of the university itself, so that whatever we said we do in this university, we will do this thing in the university, is totally substantiated by what exactly we have in the university. So I'll request Dr. Anshul to take us to a round of the university. And once again, Dr. Deepinder, thank you so much for being with us, right?
The pleasure is all mine, sir.
So
Thanks.
wonderful points you gave us, especially the concrete examples.
Thank you, sir. It's my pleasure. Yeah.
All right. So let us just start with a beautiful view of this university. And the audio was already being played at the beginning of this session, wherein you can see the interior as well as the exterior of the university. So this is our campus located at Sona Gurgaon Road. And it is a lush green campus. Definitely the thing which attracts us is the green area around us. हम लोग पहाड़ों पे जाते हैं, हम लोग घूमने जाते हैं, वहां पर जो ब्यूटी होती है वो हमें बहुत ही mesmerize करती है. And this is what we find here at KRMU. Many a times I have heard that once I was into hostel for certain feedback. Hostel is just located inside the campus. So let me just tell you, ma'am, the hostel students, they were insisting, ma'am, please spare one complete day, entire day at the university. You will love the, sun rising and sunsets. हम लोग बाहर जाते हैं campus में, we sit on the lush green grass. वहां पर हम लोग सनसेट होता हुआ भी देखते हैं. We see how the sun is rising, and that's a beautiful moments that we captured on a daily basis. Besides that, जो rains है, मतलब in fact they meant to say that every season has a different impact on their mental well-being. So this area, as you can see, is spread over 26 acres. And we have over 3,000 students with 12 different schools and a lot of faculty working here. So these are the courses being offered. Definitely we provide different combination and permutations. They are available with us in case if you want to go, if you are in an engineering course and you are interested in some course from maybe media. So we have that facility wherein you can opt a certain credit course from some other department also. So it's not like you only are made to learn some specific set of courses which are being offered under particular school or under particular program. So you can opt. We have different VSc courses, value-added courses, which are offered from different schools, which a student can take up as per the interest. So industry collaborations, I have already mentioned in my answers in addressing to the question which Dr. Deepinder asked me, what do you do to bring expertise in the students. So we have good industry collaborations. We have collaboration with IBM, Symmetrics, Siemens, LinkedIn Learning, NSC Academics, and many more, wherein they come to the university campus as per the demands of the market. They introduce new courses, new chapters to the already following pattern of the courses of the program. So in a way, they help gain mastery over a particular subject to the students. So we have an entire board wherein we have some distinguished professors who in one or the other way, at one or the other time, they are continuously there advising us, who are there to guide us what we should do, how we can evolve as a good university. So this is a list of distinguished professors from different universities of good repute. So as in we expend a lot of time, we expend a lot of resources on experiences which the students gain at the university. So this is one example wherein you get to see that we have E-Yantra robotics lab. This lab was being set up by the engineering department, and in order to give students first-hand training, hands-on training to how the machines work, the students are encouraged to participate. Now, innovative teaching pedagogy, we are focusing on imbibing, obviously, the employability skills into the teaching, the pedagogy that we follow. For that, we have smart ashrams. We have life beyond academics. Likewise, I mentioned in my previous interaction that we have Industry Connect program, wherein we send our students for real-time experiences, how a university works, how they can what kind of things they can learn from the industries or the companies. Then we have mentor-mentee programs. We have community connect programs. I have mentioned that we are giving personal assistance, personal counseling sessions to each and every child in case if they require. So this is not the counseling sessions. They are not only related to the work pressure they are experiencing. It's about the relationship problems they might have, be it with their parents, be it with the peers, be it with the they must be getting into newer kind of relationships at during their stay at the university. We have community connect program. This is a picture wherein you can see that blood donation camps has been organized. So besides that, we have students who are continuously going to some of the villages, and they are giving them services, maybe agriculture related, maybe legal aid, maybe educational services. We are planning to take our students to the villages, wherein our student teacher, wherein the students from different departments, they'll be teaching the students there. They'll be giving agricultural services there. They'll be assisting how to set up solar panels, maybe to name a few. So clubs and societies, we have different an entire list of around 20 clubs and societies pertaining to different interest areas of the students, and the students in their leisure time, they can participate in these activities. If they have some skills, they are good in sports, they can participate, and obviously they can have a good experience. International exposure, we have tie-ups with different universities located around the world, and because we do not believe that that education is confined to certain boundaries, they should be expanded beyond the geographical boundaries. So we have tie-ins. We have Middlesex University, London, so University of Houston's. So we continuously send our students to these universities, and the students from these universities, they come to our universities as well to gain some credits here. So placements highlight, we have as much as 24 lakhs package per annum. More than 400 recruiters visit the campus. We have a separate CDC center, corporate development center, wherein the training to get into some kind of employment and placements where the students can be placed. And we invite good companies continuously. This center has been continuously looking at these particular aspects very closely and very responsibly. So to name a few, we have Paytm, Sun Pharma. Our students have been placed at these top-notch industries. So admission process, it's a very simple process. Everything is virtual now. You can visit the website anytime, and you can get the details from there. You can just feed your number, and the university will arrange for a call back to you. So after your call back, or you can also come to the university campus directly. Here you meet the admission officer, and you obtain a form from them. They will elaborate upon each and every thing about the course, about the program you are going to opt, about the university. In case if you want to, if you are confused about which course I can opt. Sometimes it happens that I do not know where my interest area lies. मुझे bio भी पसंद है, मुझे physics भी पसंद है, अब मैं क्या करूँ? So we have a psychometric test wherein we analyze where your interest area lies, and upon that you get a fairly clear picture about what to opt and how you can opt that. So after that, you get registered with us. You appear for an admission test. We would like to know how much do you know. Further, after clearing this admission test, you appear for a personal interaction session. Here, some faculty from the department you are getting admission into, they interact with you. They see your caliber, and in case if you have any doubts, you can ask them in there. Then you pay the fee. After you get selected, you can pay the fee and get registered with us. And here you are at our K.R.MU family. So average fee structure, if you look at comparing the other university fee with that, what we have here at K.R.Mangalam University, you can fairly get an idea about how the fee structure at K.R.Mangalam University is lesser than the other private universities located in Haryana, Delhi, and UP. So it is preferred due to the location. It is preferred due to the kind of exposures that we are given. You will experience a whole new life here at K.R.Mangalam University. So that was not all. If you think that the scholarship, the fee payment is all you have to do, if you are a deserving candidate, if you manage to score above 90% marks in your 12th standard, we give you scholarship up to 100%. So we have policy schemes, scholarship policy schemes, wherein the meritorious students, they are given scholarships up to 100%. And let me one that I recently got to know about it. There was a girl with us who registered with us, and she had 96-97% in her 12th standard. She got scholarship of absolutely 100%. And after that, we have a process wherein, in case if you manage to get a particular CGPA above that, you are again entitled for scholarship here at K.R.MU. So the entire 5 years she spent at K.R.MU, she was on scholarship, and at the end also she was gold medalist. So university ने उसे अलग से acknowledge किया उसके efforts को, and that was very good to know about her, that entirely she studied on scholarship, and after that also she got gold medal. Now, fast track admission for those with 90% or above in 10+2. We also give scholarships for those who are holding any positions at the state level in sports, and for the defense personnel, we give a priority admissions to them. In case if you have any query regarding our admission process, the departments, the schools, what do we do, you can anytime visit the website. Also, there is a phone number here on your screens. You can call here anytime, and you will definitely get a good response. And otherwise, you can mail your query to the schoolconnect@krmangalam.edu.in. We are there on Facebook as well as LinkedIn, Instagram. You can find us there also. And we have a lot of events going on for our students as well as the students who are outside our university. So for all those updates, you just please check our websites. There are glimpses of all the events which have been happening at the universities and which are there yet to come. You can participate in them, and you can be rewarded if you manage to win. So this was all about the university, and I would like to thank Deepinder ma'am for joining here and spending some time with us and helping our students really out in with their stress.
Yes, that's a lot, Anshul, which you people are doing at your university. Really glad, heartening to know that universities here in India are also doing so much for students, which at our times was it was not like that at all.
Yes,
But
I know. I know, ma'am. And we are trying to, evolve into something better every time. With the feedback systems we have, we take the feedback of the students as well as the faculty as well as the parents very seriously and work upon them. So,
wonderful, wonderful. So wishing you success all the way, and thank you so much, Dr. Ashok and Dr. Anshul and the university for giving me this opportunity once again. I would like to thank you. Thanks a lot,
We
sir.
would love to have you again and again because for the sake of students, let me tell them that we conduct every Saturday a webinar for them on something very interesting topic. And we are very choosy about the topics. We go to the students, we understand their needs, and then accordingly we select the topics. Now, from the next month onward, we are going to increase the number of webinars. They will be thrice a week,
Oh,
right? Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And they will be very focused webinars in the sense that particularly our Tuesday webinars would be webinars which would be centering around a particular department, what all they do, right? And our Thursday webinars would be webinars which will be centering around some topic, and then how we as a university are ensuring, a particular department is ensuring that these are the plus points of ours apart from other universities. And every Saturday we will hold a generic session like we held today, right?
wonderful, wonderful,
Thank you
sir.
so much. And this is how we are intending to help our students, because our motto is to empower the youth, right? And
Wonderful.
that is what we are struggling and trying our level best to empower the youth so that we can empower the nation. So
Yes,
thank you very much for joining us. And once again, I would say to my audience that you are free to come to our campus any day. Just give us a call. You can come, you can visit different departments, you can meet the faculty, you can visit our facilities, laboratories, right? And top of that, talk to the students and understand the reality, see the hostel life, right? And then decide what do you want to do. Okay. Thank you so much.
good night.
And
Bye.
have a good day. Thank you very much.
thank you.
Bye. Dharamveer sir, please close the session.